They told me I had to quit my job to be free, that the only path to wealth was entrepreneurship, risk, and burning the boats. But what if the 9 to 5 isn't the trap? It's the tool. I used my 9 to 5 to reach financial independence not by escaping it, but by mastering how to play it. And in this video, I'll show you exactly how I did that. Most people think quitting your job is the only way to be free. I didn't. And I still hit financial independence. So what did I do differently? Everyone online seems to say the same thing. If you want financial freedom, you have to quit your job, start a business, escape the corporate grind. But what if that's not the only path? What if, for some of us, the smarter path to freedom isn't to escape the system, it's to use it? I reached financial independence not by quitting, not by launching a 7-figure business, but through a decade of intentional moves within the corporate world. And this video is about why I chose this path, and why it might just be the most underrated route to freedom today. The dominant story today is binary. Corporate equals safety, but boredom, constraints, capped income, political games, no real ownership, maybe even poverty. Entrepreneurship equals freedom, build your own thing, own your time, work from anywhere, make millions. And if you're still in a job, you're behind. You're playing small. You're making someone else rich. That's the narrative. And let's be honest, it's appealing, I get it. Because most people don't feel free in their job. They feel trapped, financially trapped, living paycheck to paycheck, no margin, no choices. The corporate path feels limiting, but that's just one version of the story. Here's the problem. The just quit and build a business advice ignores reality. Not everyone has a safety net. Not everyone has a fallback plan. Not everyone can afford to go 12 or 24 months without stable income. Maybe you have a mortgage, or kids, or aging parents. Or you're on a visa, or you just don't want to burn everything down on hope. And even if you could quit, you may not have the right idea. You might not see a business that's aligned, strategic, or likely to outperform your current path. And that matters, because going solo doesn't guarantee freedom. It often guarantees uncertainty, burnout, and a longer time to financial independence. I've seen it, and I've lived it. I launched a business myself before I ever entered the corporate world. It failed. And while I learned a lot, what it taught me was this. Sometimes the smartest move isn't to escape the system. It's to master it, while using it to build your own future. If that shift in perspective is clicking with you, if it's reshaping how you think about your own path to freedom, take a moment to like this video and subscribe. Let's keep going. The moment everything changed for me was when I stopped seeing my job as just a job. I started seeing it as a platform. This meant using income as capital, not consumption. Choosing roles for growth and leverage, not ego or titles. Transitioning into industries where compensation scales faster than time. Stacking rare, high-value skills across functions, and yes, moving across geographies to use geo-arbitrage to my advantage. Instead of climbing the ladder, I started building a machine. One that bought me time, flexibility, and eventually freedom. When I first moved into corporate, I was earning around $40,000 with no tech background, no relevant experience, and no industry network. I was a complete wild card. Within a few years, I had built a career that paid me on par with what senior professionals in the Bay Area earn in corporate tech. But I wasn't based in San Francisco. I was based in Europe, where that level of income placed me comfortably in the top 1% of earners. And I didn't get there by climbing a ladder blindly. I did it by treating my career like a leverage engine, optimizing for capital, positioning, and geographic arbitrage. I'm not saying this to impress you. I'm not the wealthiest person on the internet. But what I've built is repeatable. And that's what this channel is about. Because if I could get there without credentials, connections, or a head start, imagine what's possible if you apply the same principles to your own career, starting from where you are. You don't need a head start. You need a system that works. And every move I made, every role, every relocation was mapped to one goal: reaching financial independence without betting it all on a business that might never land. Here's the thing: the goal isn't to quit, the goal is to control. Freedom means being able to say no, having optionality, not relying on one job, one market, or one system. And ironically, you can build that power faster as an employee if you know how. Most people chase promotions. I was building leverage. Most people focus on titles. I focused on skills, capital, and positioning. Most people consume what they earn. I invested, moved, and built margin. And in the process, I realized it's not about whether you work for someone else. It's about how you use the opportunity while you do so. Leverage is how you turn a job into freedom, not a trap. Because for most people, financial freedom isn't about ideology. It's about strategy. It's not about proving a point or following a philosophy. You don't need to be part of the I built my own thing club. You need to figure out what's the highest leverage path for me given where I'm starting, what I value, and how fast I want to get there. Ideology says you have to start a business. Strategy asks, what actually works for me? Sometimes that answer is entrepreneurship. But sometimes, especially when you have no fallback or want stability without stagnation, the corporate route is the most direct, most repeatable, and most compounding path to freedom. And that's okay. Because at the end of the day, it's not about how you got there. It's about whether you actually arrived. This isn't a motivational message. It's not stay in your job and hope it gets better. It's the opposite. You're not staying put. You're moving strategically. You're thinking like a capitalist inside the system. You're using your job to generate consistent cash flow, build a compounding skill stack, finance geo arbitrage, or long-term investing. Create optionality for when you do want to walk away. You're no longer playing the climb the ladder game. You're playing to win the real game: wealth, freedom, and long-term agency. And when you approach your career this way, you don't just earn more, you accelerate your path to financial independence. It's not about CV hacks, LinkedIn tips, or how to look good in a meeting, although we might cover that at some point. It's really about how to use your job like an asset, how to design your career like an entrepreneur designs a company, and ultimately how to reach financial independence without quitting everything. Because if you're working hard, following the rules, and you're still feeling stuck, it's not your fault. You were given an outdated map, but there's a new one, and I want to share it with you. Subscribe if you're ready to stop surviving in your job and start using it to buy your freedom. This channel is for professionals who think in systems, build leverage, and want real strategy, not just tips. Because you don't need to quit your job to be free. You just need to stop using it like an employee and start thinking like a career capitalist. That's the difference between having success and understanding it. I didn't just stumble into a few lucky breaks. I reverse engineered the system that made those outcomes possible. And now I want to help others to do the same. If that's you and you're ready to build on this strategy, the next step is simple. Watch the next video, Build Brand Equity, Not Just a Resume. How to Think Like You Inc. It's all about how to turn your career into an asset that compounds even when you're not job searching. I'll link it right here on the screen.